Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Campaign Finance Board to order. The first item of business is the approval of the minutes from December 14, 2017. I'll move their approval. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The minutes have been approved. Good morning and welcome to the January 18, 2018 public meeting of the New York City Campaign Finance Board. Today, the board will be voting to assess penalties for alleged violations as recommended by CFB staff. We'll get to those matters momentarily, but first I have one announcement. The board will convene a public hearing on January 29th to discuss New York City's 2017 elections. The board holds such public hearings after each citywide election cycle to help evaluate the impact of its work. Feedback from the hearing will help further improve our administration of the city's landmark campaign finance program and inform legislative recommendations that will be included in the CFB's comprehensive post-election report, which will be published in August 2018. The hearing is open to the public, and the board welcomes feedback from candidates, members of the public, elected officials, civic organizations, and other interested parties. At this time, I will turn to our Voter Assistance Advisory Committee Chair, Naomi Zauderer, for her report.
Thank you, Chair Schaefer. While we're here today, I think it's important to recognize the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as we celebrated MLK Day earlier this week. Dr. King understood the fundamental role that voting rights play in achieving a stronger, more equitable democracy. In acknowledgement of Dr. King, we're using this moment to recommit to the fight for better access to the ballot for all New Yorkers in 2018. You can join with us by signing our petition to pass important voting rights legislation in the New York State Legislature by visiting votebetterny.org. In May, we'll lead volunteers on our annual Voting Rights Advocacy Day to the state capitol in Albany. That's on May 8th, right?
Yes.
Yeah. With the governor's stated support for early voting and other reforms, we hope this legislation will pass before we even reach the Capitol steps. But for now, we're preparing our arguments in favor of improving our voting laws in order to persuade our state officials to support this legislation in its current session. I will now turn to CFB Executive Director Amy Loprest for her report.
Thank you. I just have a brief report. Tuesday was the final disclosure deadline for the 2017 election. 182 candidates filed disclosure statements on Tuesday. Of course, this now starts the post-election audit and review process. So we're not done with 2017 yet, but it's where the filings are done. It is also marks the start of the 2021 election cycle. So yesterday, forms and for the 2021 election cycle became live on our website, and additional updates will be made over the course of time, updates to the contribution limits and expenditure limits and the deadlines for disclosure for the 2021 election.
All right, we have two matters involving recommended penalties by the staff, repeat that. We have two matters relating to penalty recommendations by the staff. There was an indication of one of the candidates might appear. Is there anybody here appearing on behalf of any candidate? Apparently not. So at this point, we will go into deliberations on these two penalty matters, and we'll be back shortly. Thank you. All right, so we're back on the record, and we have two penalty recommendations to consider. The first are recommended penalties against the campaign of Joanne Otero for the City Council, District Number 17. The recommendations are as follows. I'll list the violations and the recommended penalties. Failing to provide bank and merchant account statements, $500. Failing to demonstrate compliance with cash receipts reporting and documentation requirements, $205. Failing to demonstrate compliance with subcontractor reporting and documentation requirements, $50. Accepting an over-the-limit contribution, $1,600. Failing to document outstanding liabilities, $1,500. Filing late disclosure statements, $650. And late response to the initial documentation request, $50. For total recommended penalties of $4,555. I will move the acceptance of those recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Second, we have penalties relating to independent expenditures by Leon Goldenberg. The alleged violations and recommended penalties are as follows. Failure to file, $550. Use of paid for by notice that is not of a conspicuous size and style, $165. And then again, use of paid for by notice that is not of a conspicuous size and style, $165. For total recommended penalties of $880. I'll move the acceptance of those recommendations.
So moved.
Is there a second? Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. That is the end of our business on the record. I'm going to entertain a motion to go into executive session, and since there will be no action taken pursuant to that executive session, I will at the same time ask for a motion to adjourn. So is there such a motion?
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, we will now go into executive session, and following that, we're adjourned. Thank you.